season.
Welcome back to another episode of Life in Pictures podcast. I bet you probably thought that we stopped doing these, and you're kind of right, but we're back. It's been a long summer, and it's been most of the fall now, too. But one thing is for sure, we have not stopped watching movies. We just quit talking about them for a while.
Well, I mean, we just quit talking about them with you guys for a while.
Yes, Stephanie's very important, and she was gone for a long time over the summer, so she couldn't record podcasts. And I am less important than her, but I'm also lazy, so I couldn't record podcasts either.
Yeah, to be fair, while I was traveling all over the country working, Travis and the children went to see every movie that was released this summer. So do you want to do just like a quick recap of your summer adventures at the movies?
Sure. Like I've been saying on our old podcasts, I am not getting paid to say this, but Regal Unlimited came in very handy for us this summer. Because while Stephanie was away being important, we'd have to drive her to the airport. And then after we left the airport, we had to find something to do. So we'd go see all the cool movies over the summer. And we didn't have to pay a whole bajillion dollars every time. That's the greatest thing that's ever invented. My whole life, I have always said, I really wish that they would make an annual pass to the movies. And if they ever do, I'm totally getting it. And they did, and I finally got it, and it's awesome. So over the summer, we saw The Little Mermaid, which we talked about. We saw The Haunted Mansion. We saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We saw Elemental. We saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We saw Transformers, I think. Yeah, we saw the new Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. Shoot. Do you remember any other ones, Colin?
I can't think of any as of right now.
We have a special guest on tonight.
Hello.
So we saw those over the summer, and that's a lot of movies to try to cover in one episode. But if you heard anything on that list that you would like discussed more at length, feel free to interact with us on our social media profiles. We are at Life in Pics Pod on everything except for Facebook, where we are Life in Pictures Podcast.
So let me ask you a question, Colin. What was your favorite movie that you saw this summer?
It's probably a tie between Indiana Jones and Spider-Man.
Okay, that's fair. Travis, what about you?
That is a good question. I don't know if I had a favorite necessarily for the summer. I don't know. I don't think there was one that was particularly better than it. I mean, I don't think any of them were bad, but I don't think any of them were like, oh, this is such a great movie that, it would be my favorite either. Indiana Jones was kind of cool just to see, him come back. I know it kind of catches a lot of grief whenever they do that sort of stuff. People like to hate on the new thing, or they should have left it alone or whatever. I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. Yeah, so I don't know, Transformers was cool, but it was cool, like, I don't know, some of these movies, I see them and I'm like, maybe I would feel differently if I paid for the ticket every time that I went, as opposed to the monthly charge with the unlimited. But being that, you pay that once a month, I felt like I got my money's worth, for all of that.
I didn't get to see very many movies this summer because I was busy doing my job.
She is busy being very important.
But I think my favorite summer movie would have been The Little Mermaid. I know we talked about this for an entire episode, so I won't talk about it now. But my favorite current movie situation is Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Whoop whoop.
Does that really count as a movie, though?
I don't know, but let me tell you that every single thing about that is so genius. being able to watch it in a theater in a chair that reclines and sing and dance and all the things and have a snack, genius. Being able to see her up close in RPX with the shaking seats, genius.
And the ticket was $485 cheaper than going to see it in person.
Exactly.
So
I
what's
mean,
not to like?
Honestly, like a steal. We actually went and saw it on Olivia's birthday, and she had a Taylor Swift, it's in my birthday era shirt, and someone at the theater gave her a little friendship bracelet because they thought she was so cute. And yeah, it was great. But all of that to say, we are in October.
Well, hold on. Was Ed Sheeran in the movie?
No.
Well, then that's not even worth it then. You can't see Ed Sheeran
Also,
and Taylor Swift at the same time.
I would like to have an entire podcast dedicated to the fact that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are endgame, but that's another story for another time.
And it has nothing to do with movies.
And
so
blah, blah,
don't
blah.
forget that.
Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so it's October, it's spooky season, and we would be remiss not to talk about scary movies.
Oh, side note, like I was saying, it has nothing to do with movies. But earlier today, we were discussing music, and we have different outlooks on music and different artists and performers. And Stephanie thought it might be good for us to discuss those on the show. And I thought it might be good for us to discuss them on her other podcast with our friend Stephanie, What's the Deal with This Pop Life, which also needs a resurrection. So if you think it would be a good idea to hear that here, you can also hit us up on our social medias and let us know. Or if you think that's a topic, if you think this podcast should be kept movies and movies only, or possibly movies and TV. It is pictures, so that could be TV and movies and whatever. Let us know.
Sorry, ADHD brain. Since we're talking about movies and possibly TV, last night we got this sad news that Matthew Perry passed away.
Yes.
And my heart is just like absolutely broken over this. Like, I had a very sad day today, and I think a lot of people feel that way because like the Friends cast is just part of our lives, and to think about Chandler being gone is just awful. But I know that in Matthew Perry's book, he said that he didn't want to only be remembered for being Chandler Bing. He wanted to be remembered for all the good things he had done for other people. So one of the good things he did for me was he brought a lot of joy and laughter into my life. His movies are hilarious. He was hilarious. I didn't know him personally, obviously, but I rewatched Friends when I was recovering from cancer, and even now, seeing episodes 500 times later, they still make me laugh like nothing else does. So he will definitely be remembered for the joy that he brought to many, many people.
Well, I did know Matthew Perry personally. I'm actually really tight with the whole cast of Friends, and it was rough on. No, I don't obviously know any of them personally, but that was sad news for me as well. I always enjoyed his performances on Friends and otherwise. I actually just recently had read his book, and in his book, he talked about all the kind of the rough things that he went through with his addictions and medical issues and things like that, and how he had kind of finally gotten over that, and how things were sort of going better for him. And then this happened. So that was sad it would have been sad to hear that anyway, but it was especially sad after reading all of that to know that. So yeah, man, that's rough.
So on a lighter note, we are going to talk about scary movies. There are two in particular that have come out this season that we're going to address on the podcast this evening. We're going to begin with Five Nights at Freddy's while we have Colin with us, because he is a big fan and he can tell us a little bit of the backstory. I really don't know any of the backstory, and kind of maybe give us some of his thoughts and opinions on the movie. And then we're also going to talk about the Prime movie Totaly Killer, which is set in the 80s. and was a lot of fun. I think it's called a horror comedy is what they branded it. So let's start by talking about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, so Colin and I went to go see Five Nights at Freddy's yesterday at Regal with our Regal Unlimited subscription.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. If they would like to pay me, I'll take it though. Stephanie, let the record show, was home, but she did not go with us. So, however, not if you find yourself in the position where you would like to go see Five Nights at Freddy's, but you just can't make it to the theater, or whatever your situation may be, you can also stream it right now on Peacock. And that's exactly what Stephanie did today, so that she would know what she was talking about for this episode.
See, I always do my research.
And like we said, Colin's been a fan of the games plural. It's not just one game. For a long time. I remember when he was, probably 6 or 7, maybe even younger than that. Him telling me that he wanted to play these games, and we found them on the computer and we tried them out and everything, and he really enjoyed them. And then, they announced that they were making this movie and he was interested in it from the beginning. And so we decided that we wanted to see this in the theater as opposed to watching it at home. But it's also really cool because a lot of times when you see something in the theater, you want to see it again, or I want to see it again if it's a really good movie. And I don't always necessarily want to drive back out to the theater and see it, but sometimes it's cool if you can watch it at home too, and then you have the luxury of like pausing it and rewinding it and looking for details, and you can get up and get a drink or whatever, what have you. So it's cool that they have both of those options available. So we went to go see this yesterday, and we had a really great time. And I'll let Colin kind of talk about his experience with it a little bit.
Okay, so yesterday I went to see the movie, and when the movie started, it kind of opens with the security guard worried and trying to find some way to get out of this place, this pizza place. Sort of similar to Chuck E. Cheese. So anyway, he's trying to get out, and he goes through these vents. He finally gets out of the vents, and he hears humming. And then it flashes a shadow of a fox-looking thingy. And he runs towards an exit door. He pushes on the handlebars, and the handlebars don't work. So he pushes over and over again, panicking. Then he hears the humming again, and the fox comes. He sees the fox, he screams, and then it cuts to the security guard in this, machine that is used for murder. And he sees this animatronic mask slowly coming towards him with blades and such all over it. He tries to twist, and he's locked down into this chair. He tries to twist the screws on the restraints. But unfortunately for the security guard, he fails and is killed.
Well, so that's kind of how you're introduced to this story, and it kind of starts a little bit in the middle like that, where you don't. If you're not familiar with the story, it doesn't really start out explaining things to you. So why don't you explain the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, Colin?
Okay, the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, I like the origin or the reason I can't think of the right word. Anyway, so you're a security guard at Freddy's and you're working the night shift. You work 6 hours, 12...
What is Freddy's? Tell them what Freddy's is.
Freddy's is an abandoned pizza place that was big in the 80s but shut down, but the owner does not want to give it up yet, so he is still hiring a security guard.
And so in the game, you are that security guard.
Yes, in the game, you are that security guard.
And the object is to make it through the night.
The object is to make it through the night. The animatronics, however, can move, and they are trying to get to your office and
Kill you.
And
you have to let them not kill you.
You have to check the cameras to see where they are, find out where they are, and you have a light button and a door button on each side, the left hallway and the right hallway. If you don't see the animatronics anywhere far away from your office and you see them really close to your office, shine the light on whatever hallway it says they're on. If they're there, close that door. However, if you close the door and shine the light and check the cameras too many times, your power will go out. Freddy will play a little lullaby, and next thing you know, you'll be dead.
Yeah, so basically the premise of this game is that
Okay.
you're a security guard in this old rundown ex-pizza place, similar to a Chuck E. Cheese. If you've ever been to Chuck E. Cheese, you're probably familiar with the animatronic band that they have there. Like Colin was saying,
This is like creepy ass Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, so like, and you're the security guard there, so you have to make sure that they don't come and get you. And I guess you have to make it through 5 nights. I haven't played the game that much, to be honest with you, but that's it in a nutshell, basically. So the movie is like a movie adaptation of that. So why don't we just kind of give a basic summary of what happens in the movie, and then we'll talk about scenes that we enjoyed and our personal insights and things. And as always, what do we like to say on this show before we start talking about movies?
Spoilers ahead!
Spoiler alert! If you have not seen this movie and you do not want to hear spoilers, go watch the movie and then come back and listen. Because we're going to talk about it from the point of view as if you have already seen it and you just want to come hang out with us and talk about it.
So this movie stars Josh Hutcherson. He plays the security guard. He's a security guard at a mall, and he beats up this guy because he thinks this guy is kidnapping a child, and he has trauma because his brother was kidnapped when he was a kid. Flash forward, he's an adult now, and he has to get another job, so he ends up getting this job at the Freddy pizza place, and he's the overnight security guard that's just supposed to make sure that nothing bad happens. Then all this creepy stuff starts to go down. We find out that the animatronics are alive. They're alive. He brings his little sister, and they want to play with her, but really they want to make her one of their own. And hijinks ensue, and there's, scary things that happen. And in the end, he saves his sister, and there is room for a sequel.
Also, the guy that gives him that job is...
It's Matthew Lillard, better known as Stu from Scream.
Side note, since it's Scary October, and Colin has been getting a little older, he's been a little more curious about horror movies as of late. And not wanting to throw him into the deep end, we started him off with a few horror movies. And which movie did you see recently, buddy?
I saw the original Scream from 1996.
Scream! Starring none other than Matthew Lillard.
Yes.
So that was kind of cool that he was also in this movie. Yeah, so basically, that's it. In a nutshell, he gets this gig as a security guard. Stuff happens. He's got to save his sister. If you've seen the movie, which hopefully you have if you made it this far in the podcast, you already know what happened. So let's talk about what we thought was cool in the movie.
So, interestingly enough, I knew Matthew Lillard was going to be the bad guy.
I knew it too, and I don't know if I figured, because Colin told me that's the bad guy, and I don't know if that subconsciously stuck in my head and I went into it knowing that, or if I had, it was partly that and partly figuring it out or what, but
for me, it was one of those things they're going to try and make you think. But then when he comes out as the rabbit, as the yellow rabbit, the minute he speaks, I knew it was Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
The voice gives him away. What did you think about that, with him being one of the killers in the original Scream and also being the bad guy in this movie?
I thought that kind of I don't know. That kind of made me feel like he reprised his role. even though they're two different franchises in two different movies.
So maybe he's just like a bad guy, like he's good at playing the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little side note about the Yellow Rabbit. They don't say it in the movie, but his name is Springtrap.
Oh. And those spring locks play a big role.
Mm-hmm.
So makes sense. I liked seeing what's his name again? Josh
Hutcherson?
Hutcherson?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed seeing him because Stephanie told me that he was most known for being in the Hunger Games. Now, I'm sure he is. I never really watched the Hunger Games. I think I saw the first one like one time. But the thing that I know him from is this show on Hulu called Future Man, which if you haven't seen that, I would check that out. It's really funny, and it's also pretty well written. It's a time travel comedy. So I thought it was cool to see him come back. Like, I really enjoyed his performance in Future Man, and it was cool to see him, landing other roles. So that was cool. Side note about the Hunger Games, I think there's two better versions of the Hunger Games out there. The Running Man and The Condemned, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you should check those out if you haven't seen them and you like the Hunger Games. Maybe you might agree with me. Maybe you won't. I don't know. Check them out, though. They're good movies. So I enjoyed seeing him. I enjoyed Matthew Lillard's performance, even though he wasn't in the movie for very long. He's I don't know. He's one of those actors when you see him, he's just like a funny guy. Like you're like, oh yeah, that guy. He's a cool guy. Like I like him and stuff.
It's interesting. Like you can't help but like him,
Yeah.
even when he's the killer.
He's funny. He's a funny guy. Like I don't know. And so that was cool. Some of the the actors and whatnot. I kind of enjoyed seeing the adaptation to live action from the video games because I was a little bit familiar with the video games. So that was cool. I'm not as familiar as other movies that I've seen that adapted video games, but I was somewhat familiar with.
Such as Mario or Sonic.
Right. With this franchise. And one thing that I also enjoyed, which wasn't really in the movie, but this is something that Regal did. It might not be limited to Regal. I think it's at other theaters as well. But if your theater serves pizza, some of the theaters are serving it in a Freddy Fazbear's pizza box. So it's like a souvenir prop you get to take with you if you order the pizza at the snack bar.
I got one.
And Colin got one. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. What about you, Colin? Do you have any particular scenes that stand out to you?
What was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie is when Matthew Lillard dies.
So when the bad guy dies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Murder. Curious.
What about, is there anything that you didn't like about the movie? Do you think they got anything wrong or they could have done better?
Yeah, there were some things that they did wrong. I feel like, cause in the movie, there's a scene where people break in and the animatronics kill them, which they do kill people, right? But in the whole movie, they never really go for the security guard. They just kind of acknowledge that he's there. They don't really try to mess with him or anything, which definitely isn't game accurate because the entire point of the game is trying to survive from them, but it's pretty easy when they're not going for you.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Anything else about that particular movie?
I like.
Do you think it needs a sequel?
Maybe if they, I don't know. Maybe if they explained more things. No. I think it does need a sequel because it definitely left me asking for questions, but that's really the only reason it needs a sequel.
What about some of the Easter eggs that you pointed out when we were watching it?
Let me think. Oh, the balloon mascot thingy that Mike, aka Josh Hutcherson, or the taxi driver, gets scared about. He is a character from the second game called Balloon Boy, and he steals your flashlight because he's annoying. And I didn't realize this until after, but you know how when the girl walks into that, storage closet and like she sees Freddy and she's like, what the heck? You know how she looks at like a scrapped dog thingy? So that is Sparky, and I think you can see that in the maintenance room in the actual game, but I could be wrong about that. All I know is he is a character from Five Nights at Freddy's, but like he doesn't try to kill you because he's scrapped. And that speaking of Sparky, the restaurant that the ants, the fat guy and the babysitter and her brother are talking at,
Her aunt's lawyer.
Whatever.
Doug?
The
His name
fat
is
guy.
Doug, right?
The fat guy. Anyway, so he that restaurant is also called Sparky's.
Isn't the waiter someone?
Yeah. What about some of the cameos?
The waiter is someone on YouTube that does a bunch of theories on Five Nights at Freddy's, and like the thing he says all the time is that's just a theory, and he said that in the movie when he's talking to them.
Oh, very nice. All right. Well,
What about the taxi driver? Wasn't he also a YouTuber?
He was, but I'm not really familiar with him. I just know he is one.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Colin, for coming to hang with us. We're going to let you skedaddle on out of here, so we will pause, and we will pick up in just a minute.
All right, we're back.
And we're going to talk now about Totaly Killer.
I know you guys you obviously would have no way of knowing this, but I just want you to know before we came back, I did the countdown where I said 5, 4, 3, and then I did 2 and 1 silently, which is a reference from Wayne's World. And I thought it was funny, so I thought you might enjoy it too.
Okay, so he always does this, and he tells me every time that it's a reference from Wayne's World.
Because she doesn't get it.
I get it.
I mean, it's a thing they do for real in TV shows, but that's the reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Okay, so now that Colin's not in here, we have to tell you about his first time watching Scream. We're probably going to parent jail because... Okay, first of all, let me back up and tell you that Scream is one of my favorite scary movie franchises. Actually, it is my favorite scary movie franchise. Mostly because I don't really love scary movies. And for me, Scream works that perfect balance between comedy and horror. And it's like a little bit scary, but not that scary. Like you can still be a chicken shit like I am and like enjoy those movies. So I saw Scream 1,000,005 times. I can quote it forwards and backwards, and it's just one of those movies that I saw over and over again, like Clueless and Mean Girls. It holds the same kind of spot for me. But also, when I was a kid, we watched scary movies. We watched like Freddy and Jason and like all kinds of things when we were much younger.
Yeah, I used to watch those all the time, like my brother and I.
Yeah.
And they would have them on TV.
Right.
And I think now it's different because you don't, I'm sure some people do, but like in our house, we have internet and we don't have cable. So we have, streaming services and YouTube and stuff. So you don't really like catch movies just playing on TV anymore, channel surfing really. Like it's usually if you're going to watch something, like you're seeking it out most of the time, which is good and bad. But I think that just kind of goes to show that the different approaches that our generation maybe went through or were exposed to versus today.
For sure.
They didn't have ratings
Right.
on TV shows, or it was just sort of like, here it is,
But yeah, so we were we'd seen those things a lot younger. And yes, of course, we probably did see the TV version that was a little bit toned down.
Well, you would see it on TV. I don't know about you, but like you'd see it on TV and then you'd go to like Blockbuster and you'd rent the real one,
Yeah.
And then you'd be able to tell, oh, they cut that part out, or, that guy didn't say that. He said, this is what he really said,
Yeah. So basically, I thought, okay, Colin's kind of been getting a little bit interested in like the scary movie genre. He tried to watch Stranger Things and he had kind of a hard time with it. But Stranger Things is a little creepy. Like, I will give it that. Like, it's a little creepy. So I was like, you know what? Scream is a great movie. Let's start with that one. So we got through the first murder, and Colin was very clearly traumatized by it. So we had to stop. And we kind of just put it on the back burner for a little while because he was very upset by it. And of course, he is very empathetic. And so his thinking was like, her parents were so close. They were right there. They could have saved her. And oh no, they're going to find her like that. And that's just so terrible. So he was very upset by those kinds of things, like, and just took it from a very real perspective. And unfortunately in Scream, not unfortunately, like it was purposeful, but the scariest kill is that first one. Like
Yeah.
that's the scariest one, and that's just to draw you in. So
I would just say you might call it a parenting fail. I don't think I would view it that way, because here's why. We told him, hey, look, you've been asking questions about these movies lately. We don't want to start you out with something that's super crazy scary. Why don't you watch Scream, because it's not as scary as some of these other movies, and see how you do with it.
yeah, and we were watching it with him.
And we were watching it with him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do well, so we stopped it. We didn't say, too bad you're watching this, when he was clearly upset. We stopped it. We explained to him, listen, this isn't as bad. Oh, the rest of the movie isn't going to be as bad as this first scene. They make the first scene more intense to draw you into it. We put on a different movie to calm him down. We watched Ocean's 11, which is a great movie as well. Now, obviously not a horror movie, but if you haven't seen that, check that out too.
We should do an episode on that.
We should
Those
do
Ocean's
that.
movies are amazing.
And then later on, I talked to him and explained that to him, and I said, hey, listen, why don't you watch the rest of this movie, and you can watch it up until the next point where a murder is going to happen. And then that way they build the characters, and you get to know these people and why you need to care about them and what the story is and everything. And if you watch that and you want to know that story and you want to keep going, you can keep going. And if you don't, then you don't have to. But just so you know, the rest of these scenes aren't going to be as bad as that first one. And then I told him a little bit about horror movies, where I'm like, a lot of these things, they want you to think that it's scarier than it is. They're trying to scare you. But when you actually take a step back and look at them, it's not as scary as you make it out to be in your mind. And he watched the rest of it with me, and he was fine. And I think that's good that we sort of had him face a fear and overcome it. And we didn't force him to overcome it. He did it on his own.
Yeah, he decided he wanted to watch. It was his choice to want to watch the rest of the movie, to go back and watch it again. We didn't say, you have to do this. And it wasn't the same day. It wasn't even the same week. But he ended up really liking the movie.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. So I would call that a parenting win.
Okay, well, we'll take it. So Totally Killer is an Amazon Prime movie, actually. And
yes, you can watch it included with your Amazon Prime membership.
Yes.
I don't know how else you can watch it. Maybe you can buy it if you don't.
Probably, I would imagine.
If you don't have
so.
Prime,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sure you at this point you are probably somewhat familiar with Amazon. So
So the premise of this movie is that this girl, she's a teenager. Her mom is very, very overprotective of her on Halloween because her 3 friends were murdered on Halloween 35 years ago. So she goes out to this party or concert or something that her dad drives her to, and the mother ends up getting murdered. And so the girl is obviously devastated and...
Oh, wait a minute. What didn't we say yet?
Spoiler alert?
Spoiler alerts!
Oh, well...
But we said that in the
we
beginning
said
of
that
the
before.
episode, so I guess if you made it this far, you should know we're going to spoil stuff.
Yeah, we spoil everything. That's what we do over here, okay?
So.
Get used to it. So
Although we didn't really give away anything important yet, but just so you know,
Yeah.
this one's getting spoiled too. So
yeah, so her
same rules apply.
her mother gets killed, and she's obviously heartbroken and wants to find out who did it. And her friend's mom had built this sort of time machine in a photo booth at a broken down carnival. And
I think it was her friend that built it.
well, I think the plans were the mother's. Well,
Okay.
whatever. So somebody, her friend or the friend's mom, they collaborated on this time machine that didn't work. And then the killer is chasing her, and then he stabs the
Photo booth.
photo booth, and she goes back in time.
To the 1980s.
Yes, 1987. And at that time, it was before any of those girls were murdered, and her mother was alive. And her mother is this very popular kind of mean girl. And her friends are mean girls. And her dad's this like hot guy that she's all into. And then she realizes it's her dad. So basically she's trying to stop the murders from happening, but it doesn't really go as planned. And so hijinks ensue and things change in the future. And
Some of the things that change are as a result of her actions in the past.
Yes.
So
So it's got some like Back to the Future undertones. It's got some, fun nostalgia.
and they actually call out Back to the Future by name
Yes, they do.
several times.
It was just a fun movie. I thought it was, fun. And then the actual killer was a surprise, but then the other part was not a surprise.
Yeah. Now, I enjoyed them kind of giving some nods to Back to the Future. I think you can't really you can do a time travel movie without, but I think that's kind of the standard for time travel movies. Now, if you know me at all, or if you don't know me, you will find out that Back to the Future is my all-time favorite movie series ever. I have seen those movies countless times in the theaters and at home. And I would like to do a series of these podcasts here, and I've been kind of holding back on doing it because I'm just kind of afraid that I'm not going to do it justice. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I thought it was cool that they called that out in the in this movie. And to see some of the similarities, like her meeting her parents and realizing that she might not have gotten along with her parents when they were her age, which is a big theme of Back to the Future.
And they're very, very different than how they behave.
Right, which is
as
also
her parents.
happens in
Yeah.
Back to the Future. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, it was like they acknowledged it without like completely ripping it off, So
And I thought it did that really good job of being funny and a little bit scary, but not so scary that it's like intimidating, or not so gory that you don't want to watch it. I thought it was really good. So if you haven't seen it and you like a little bit more of a tamer movie, I would call it tame. The comedy for me was the sheriff was hilarious. The comedy was really good in it, and I enjoyed it.
yeah. And I called out who the killer was immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I think that one was obvious, but the
Yeah.
other part, I had no idea,
Yeah.
until they revealed it. So she ends up, of course, saving her mom, but because she gets her parents together sooner, she finds out when she gets back to 2023 that she has a 30-year-old brother. Her 34-year-old brother. So mom and dad got pregnant right away.
They wasted no time.
No time. Yeah, so I think there's, not a lot to say without giving away the whole movie, I think. But I did enjoy that.
But also, you should have already seen it if you're listening to this by now.
Yeah,
So,
sure, yeah.
Possibly.
So one other thing before we close out, because we do kind of want to stick to that spooky, scary skeleton theme. What is your favorite horror movie series?
Hit us up. Life in Pics Pod on everything except for Facebook. And on Facebook, Life in Pictures Podcast.
Well, I was actually asking you, but yes, you all as well as listeners, what is your favorite? But Travis, particularly, what is your favorite?
Okay, well,
horror movie
suddenly
franchise?
Somebody cares what I think all of a sudden.
Already
I
the
would
answer.
say that my favorite horror franchise of all time is Psycho.
Okay.
If you've been listening to this show from the beginning, you might recall that we started this show out by discussing all of the Psycho films. And that was actually the genesis of this show, was that Mother's Day was coming up, and I thought I should do an episode on Psycho on my original podcast, Under the Radar with Travis McLeod, which has also kind of been a little bit since I've done an episode of. But there's plenty of episodes out there for you to listen to if you want to check that out. And then Stephanie said, why don't I come on it too, and we'll just make a new show? And I said, well, that could work too. And here we are. But I really enjoy that series. Like I talked about on those episodes, the way that I was exposed to that series was the first time that I went to Universal Studios in Orlando, and they had a whole Alfred Hitchcock show, and they talked about Psycho as part of it. And it sounded like an interesting premise to me. And my mom had told me that she had seen it, and I guess, she had seen it like 30 years before that, so she didn't really remember a lot of it. And I was like, well, I want to know what happened. So, we went out and got it, and I watched it, and I saw the sequels, and I thought it was good. So I think that's probably my favorite. Outside of that, probably like Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Friday the 13th. I don't know. There's so many of them, but like the Scream franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it would definitely be the Scream franchise because, like I said, I don't necessarily like anything that's too gory or too scary or, too realistic. Like I have a lot of criteria for horror movies that I'm willing to watch. Now, when I was a younger kid, I was all about those Freddy movies. But now, as an adult, it just they just creep me out a little bit. I'm not as bothered by like Jason or Michael Myers because like that's kind of I don't know, different because they don't talk and like we were watching Jason X. Is that what we were watching the other day?
Yes, Jason X, which is probably the greatest Jason movie ever. And it's not great because it's great. It's great because it's terrible.
It's so
and it's
bad.
so terrible that it crosses over to being great.
If you're watching a movie and like you're literally just like, this is so bad.
Now, Jason X is interesting because it came out at a time I was working at the movie theater when this came out. And I think I saw this movie like 5 or 6 times.
We saw it, right?
Yeah, we saw it together. And then I think like a bunch of my friends, one by one, were like, I haven't seen that movie yet. And I'm like, let's go see it. So just sort of coincidentally, I ended up watching it a bunch of times. And it's so terrible. Like the production value, I didn't realize this, but watching it over last night, I was like, the production value of this movie, it looks like it's a TV show on the CW or something. Mm-hmm. Just the production value, the quality of the acting, like everything. It's so like not a good movie, but it is because it's fun to watch it be terrible. Like a train wreck. I don't know. You can't look away from it,
So bad. Also, I noticed that in the beginning, when Jason thaws out because they're in space and he was cryogenically frozen.
Well, he wasn't in space yet in the beginning.
Okay. Well, he was cryogenically frozen and then they went into space.
Yes.
But anyway, so when he defrosts, at first he has hair and then all of a sudden he's like just a brain.
Yeah.
Like his whole head is just a brain. What?
I also appreciate the fact that the final Friday was called Jason Goes to Hell. That's just a great title to me. Like, is it a horror movie? Is it a fun adventure? We don't know, but it's such an awesome title. It was called Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday, and then it wasn't the Final Friday because they had Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason. But at the time, it was the final one.
Also, like, the whole Jason can't be killed thing is very strange to me.
Yeah.
They've, blown him up, shot him, burned him, froze him. What else is there left to do? But why is he superhuman? I don't know. I guess we're not.
They probably explain it. I'll be honest with you. Like I remember watching the original Friday the 13th. I don't know if I could tell you what happened in it today. I know I've seen a few of them that it's just kind of like, I don't think I've seen any of them enough times to really recount. Oh yeah, that's the one where this happens kind of thing.
Oh, I think I could recount the original Freddy movie for sure.
I know. Yeah. I mean, so I probably more Freddy. I think I've seen more Freddy than I've seen more Nightmare on Elm Streets than Friday the 13th.
One, two, Freddy's coming for you.
I love in Freddy versus Jason where he starts singing that. And he's like, "Do you know why they say that? Because that's when he comes for you." It's like, well, yeah.
Freddy versus Jason, that was a funny movie.
Yeah, and then they had that rip-off, like, Jason Mewes character. They totally ripped him off.
The other guy, I think, was supposed to be Silent Bob, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I think we've talked at you enough for today.
Yeah, this is your fix of scary movies. You have 2 days to binge all the scary movies you want, and then it's going to be Christmas. I mean, it's technically going to be Thanksgiving and then Christmas, but, they don't have that many Thanksgiving movies. So, we wanted to try to get this one in before we crossed over into Christmas territory.
But it's not like Christmas. See?
So,
you started it. Look what you started.
So, anyways.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us talk about spooky, scary movies today. We are sorry we have been away for so long. We will try to do a better job. Also, if you would like me to talk with Stephanie Walsh over at
What's the Deal with This Pop Life?
And have my friend Travis here be a guest as we discuss all of the pop things like Britney's new book and the new NSYNC song. Hit us up.
We're just friends now? That's kind of
my super hot husband.
That's kind of a messed up way to find this out. But like, all right.
My super hot husband. My super hot husband.
Who is not going to be Travis Kelce for Halloween, by the way.
I really want him to be Travis Kelce. Guys, tell him how he should be Travis Kelce. I have like 4 different Taylor Swift looks, and he doesn't want to be Travis Kelce.
Nope.
His name's already Travis. It's perfect.
Nope, I don't want to do that.
Anyway. So, yes.
I think Travis Kelce's a cool guy. I just don't want to be him for Halloween.
Fine. Anyway. He's Endgame. If you would like to hear more about how I think that they're Endgame, please hit us up.
Or if you'd like us to talk actually about the movie Endgame, Avengers, where everybody got that saying from.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Or we could talk about the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
We could do that too. Anyway, we could sit here and drone this on and on for another 10 minutes, but we're not going to do that to you because we love you guys. So go and like and share on all the platforms. Hit us up on our socials. Tell us what your favorite scary movie franchise is. Tell us how you want us to debate artistry versus performancery over on the other podcast with Steph. And thanks for listening to Life in Pictures podcast.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. See you next time.